A new explosive investigative piece published by 3 TimesLive journalists has revealed the complex and sophisticated operations around illegal mining in South Africa. The piece illustrates how deeply entrenched the practice is and that local law enforcement as well as South Africa's Department of Minerals and Energy are failing to bring the situation under control. We're joined by Tankiso Maketa, investigative journalist for TimesLive, who worked on the story alongside Graham Hoskin and Aaron Heyman. Thank you very much for availing yourself this afternoon. Before we get into the conversation, let's just give our viewers a little bit of context and play this video courtesy of yourselves.
Men holding up assault rifles and stacks of money while dancing to the sweet music of far more have been revealed in a TimesLive investigation. These Amazonas.
So what our viewers are seeing, even though there's no sound there, Tankiso, is men who are clad in Basotho blankets, rather, who have some heavy artillery on them. They have a bucket full of cash. Maybe let's start here. Where did the interest come from for you to go deeper into the belly of the earth and find the story?
So firstly, the story originated from the Soweto Tavern shootings. Everyone was scratching their heads trying to find out what actually happened and what led to it. So in our investigations, we found that they were actually linked to 2 Basotho rival groups, which also operate within the illegal mining activity, within the illegal mining industry. And that's how it started. We found out that there were these 2 are actually splinter groups of each other, and they were taking each other out, or rather assassinating members from one another. And after that, we found that they actually linked to some of the most lucrative mining shafts in SA, illegal mining in those shafts. And that's how we came across all this information that we were able to.
Okay, I think we're losing you there intermittently. Our apologies. We'll reestablish the connection and bring you back into the conversation. Tankiso. But let's just go to Aaron. Aaron, I'm taking a look at your Twitter feed and some of the things that you see here. Graham, I beg your pardon, so we only have Graham. But Graham, on Aaron's Twitter feed, you've also got a lot happening, right? So it's not just these gentlemen who are clad in Basotho blankets who have these walls of cash and they have this heavy machinery, but also there's a political link to it. Before we get into that, perhaps if you can just take us through what the investigation revealed and what stood out for you in terms of following the money.
So what was important for us in this investigation was to get to the people behind it, So South Africa knows about illegal mining. It's not an uncommon thing. But often it's been, where does the money go? Where does the gold go? Which is another leg of our investigation. And what we did is we looked at who these people are affiliated, sources of ours, both within law enforcement in South Africa and in Lesotho, began to say, well, what we need to do is look at where these people come from, the Mountain Kingdom of Lesotho and the political parties there. We began to get video footage that was leaked us by various sources showing that these people, especially the leaders of these gangs, Terene Chakela and Terene Kosi Mokata, were linked to political parties in Lesotho, and some of those who were wanted by the South African Police Service for the massacre at Mlolosi's tavern in Soweto were actually seen handing out just 3 weeks before wads of cash at various political rallies linked to the All Basotho Convention. And from there we began to dig further, and although the actual source of the money is unknown, what we discovered through exclusive interviews with the Lesotho National Police was that there were serious questions as to why money was being handed out at these rallies. Both the DC, which is the opposition party in Lesotho, and the ABC, which is the All Basotho Convention, said, look, we don't accept cash. But in the same breath, they admitted that they work hand in glove, essentially, with these political parties to garner votes. And they admit that they use these organizations or these criminal gangs to help sponsor, if you would like, social outreach programs, be it the building of schools, food parcels for the poor, building of clinics. And that's how we began to delve further to, as you say, follow the money.
Dankiso, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
So as Graham outlines the details of the money, which the report has revealed sometimes makes its way to the highest political echelons, we do understand that they also buy police, guns, cars, houses, women, slaves. You've also spoken to a Lieutenant General Mojale Falitswale, who released the names of the 2 soldiers who defected to join Derene in South Africa. And soldiers are reportedly hired as death squads to hit rival gangs?
Yes, indeed. However, I didn't speak to the Lieutenant General. He was giving, he was announcing in Masir, it was in August, announcing the defection of these 2 particular soldiers. So what we've learned is that soldiers and police officers in Lesotho are guns for hire, essentially. And they are brought to come into South Africa and they take each other out. But we've also discovered that some of these groups, well, these 2 groups, specifically target armories in Lesotho and make away with high caliber rifles, which are also used to wage wars against each other in underground, basically, in some of these shops in South Africa. And that's how the money is also used. Aside from political campaigning, it's used to buy mercenaries, buy illegal weapons off the black market, and bribe police officials in South Africa as well. Well, these are allegations. We haven't been able to prove them, but we understand that some police officials, specifically in Northwest, work in cahoots with some of these illegal miners.
And Dankiso, as you rightfully mentioned, these are allegations, and of course in your investigations you would have then tested the allegations and spoken to the police in the Northwest. Any response?
We actually have a case of police officers robbing illegal miners, I think, of 15 million rands worth of gold and some cash. And this matter is being investigated by IPID. We did speak to them and they said, indeed, we are investigating this. We're just sketching on the details at the moment. So yeah, there is a bit of collaboration and double crossing between these two parties.
Graham, some of the visuals and the pictures that are contained on Aaron's timeline, of course you've got some men who are wearing masks, who are concealing their identities, but you've got some who are nonchalant, not wearing a mask. I refer to one picture of a gentleman who's sitting on a mattress. There's 2, I'm not sure what this is even. Okay, so it says R5 assault rifles, and he's on his phone, but you can see his face. Just how easy or difficult was it to get access to these people and to get them to talk?
So a lot of the people that we spoke to were both within the South African Police Service and the Lesotho Police Service, and they told us where to start scratching. And once we got onto social media and we started following certain individual social media accounts, and we started coming across these images. Those images that you see there with the assault rifles, those are actually South African police-issued assault rifles. This particular individual is not a policeman. So there's a question there of how exactly did he get these weapons. And he's not the only person that we tracked down with police weapons. And with potentially South African National Defence Force weapons. We also came across quite a few social media accounts where people openly almost brag, for want of a better word, about how they've got these weapons. You see videos where they're talking about shooting the sniper rifles. You have a look at those sniper rifles, and we cross-check with different weapon and military weapon catalogs and images, and you can see that a lot of those weapons are both LDF, that's Lesotho Defence Force weapons, such as the Israeli Galil rifle. You can see other South African military weapons in there as well, and as I said, a lot of police weapons, including stun grenades and various other military paraphernalia.
Graham, in this investigation, you guys also speak of how the Tirene factions will affect Lesotho's elections in October. What do we need to understand about that?
So what we've been able to uncover is that these two gangs, Tirene Mokata and Tirene Chakela, they are both integral and incredibly important to the political parties in Lesotho, which goes to the elections in October. And these groups bring to the political parties votes. When there's hundreds of thousands of Lesotho nationals living and working here in South Africa, and these people are used by these two gangs, and they bring these people to Lesotho to vote. We've discovered that in South Africa, particularly in Welkom and in Lesotho, there's two Welkom and Klerksdorp. There are two Lesotho consulates where people living in South Africa will be able to vote, where the Lesothos who live here will be able to vote. So these gangs, which the political parties that side have, they go hand in glove as we've said and as our investigations show.
Sure. Thank you. So as we are playing these visuals, we're seeing some of the men dancing to what we understand is a musical genre called Famu. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are.
So what do we need to understand about this genre?
What we need to understand is that some of these leaders from these groups originally started as Famu artists, and then they started branching out into various illegal activities such as Zama Zama. So Tirene Chakela, the original founder of it, is a well-known, was a well-known, very popular Famu artist in Lesotho, who died, I think, last year due to COVID complications. Tirene Mokata, Sello Sarele, who's also one of the suspects wanted in connection with the Mdlalose Tavern massacre. He's also a major musician in Lesotho. So they've been able to branch off from music into criminal activities, and because of their huge following, it's easy for them to influence their followers.
Graham, in the investigation, as we were talking about following the money, there's also an allegation that they buy slaves to do what?
So they're basically, what we've uncovered is they use slaves that will be children. We've come across information where children as young as 12 to 16 are used as sex slaves. They're used as labor, be it for cooking, bringing provisions to these people who work underground. They also use prostitutes underground as well, and various forms of slave labor. I mean, it's from carrying out your basic things such as cooking for them, bringing them supplies, and sex.
What has the response been from the South African Police Services or the Mineral Department of Minerals and Energy?
So the police, I mean, we went to the Hawks, we went to the national office, and they basically didn't comment. We went to the Gauteng Hawks. We were told that we could have an interview, and then when they heard the angle that the type of the angles that we were looking at, which is the various political links between the different groups, they then declined the interview, which we'd basically had set up. So the response is a deafening, stone cold silence.
Thank you. So do you fear for your life?
In some parts of South Africa, yes, I do, but not entirely.
So in light of this investigation, maybe more pointedly?
Yeah, I mean, we were in Lesotho last weekend, and we spent the better part of our time there essentially not sleeping because we were in the belly of the beast. But yeah, I do fear for my life, just a bit.
Graham?
I was on mute there. We take precautions. I mean, this is not the only investigation that we're doing. It's a very serious investigation, and when start touching people on their strings, you have to obviously, be careful. I mean, it's we put certain checks and balances in place. We make sure we're there for each other, and we go forward, and we're not going to stop.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for the work that you do. For any of viewers who are interested in this investigative piece, you can head on over to TimesLive online. You can follow the gentlemen on their social medias. That's Dankiso Maketa, investigative journalist for TimesLive, as well as Graham Hoskin, is also an investigative journalist for TimesLive. Gentlemen, thank you.